And it looks like we should be live.
All right. Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. After a long summer, we're back together once again. We had hoped to be together in person, but there is another meeting taking place tonight for the Planning Commission. So we decided to go ahead with our meeting, and we'll just do it this time. We'll do it on Zoom. So we will start the meeting first off by approval of our minutes. Does anyone have any questions on the minutes before we approve? Okay, no questions. Can I have a motion in a second?
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, and I'll second.
Okay, take a vote, JR.
Yeah, I always forget that fun roll call thing that I get to do. Chair Carter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Crosby,
Yes.
Member Cockrell.
Yes.
All right, and I don't think Denise has been able to jump on quite yet.
Not yet, yes.
So still, minutes are still approved.
Okay,
I just have a question about the minutes, and it's not a correction, but there was a part of that Chad talked about the grant for the teen center, and I don't know if there was anything that has been updated from that.
There hasn't, yeah. What he talked about that they were waiting for it to be a pretty long process, but yeah, there's no update on that
Okay.
that we have for tonight.
Thank you.
okay, let's move on to our SRO report.
Oh, it's been a very crazy year already. I think I was a little teased when the kids were like half there or not really all there yet. And then when this year started, oh my gosh, now I really know what it's like to be an SRO. But I love it. I love every moment of it. It's definitely different with having all the kids at school now. I actually come home very tired because of all the meetings with parents and teachers and counselors and students. But everything's going great. The kids are just happy to be back. I did have my little vape bucket. I was hoping not to fill it up that soon, but it's filling up pretty quick. So, but our proctors, our staff, they're awesome, and making sure these kids that are doing that, they're getting caught and they're getting disciplined, because we don't take that lightly over there. So, but yeah, everything has been going great. The elementary schools are doing fine. The middle schools, the kids are, a lot of them are still trying to figure out how to socialize again. So, but other than that, everything's going great. And I'm having a good time over there.
Oh, good. Any questions for Vanessa?
I just want it takes a special person to be an SRO, to be that law enforcement piece and to be that caring adult and be where they can approach you as well. So thank you for doing the job you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's really nice to see the kids finally like warming up to me and coming in just to say hi to my office. I wasn't, thinking that was going to happen that fast, but they're awesome kids, and just having that rapport with them and them already trusting me so soon. It's been great. And the parents are awesome too. And we've had some angry parents here and there for certain issues, but they just want someone to tell them what's going on, and then just be patient. I think a lot of it is just being patient with everybody. And, it's been a rough year for not just students, but parents. So having someone to talk to and understand and be patient with them, I think that's really helping. So, and I feel like I was made for this job. I love it. So good.
Janessa, I have a question for you. This weekend is homecoming. What
Yes.
kind of security are we going to have? I know they're going to be out on the quad. So what kind of security are we going to have for those kids?
So we actually have, because that was my first concern, is because there's so many hallways and areas they can run away to, but they're actually going to have a gate that's going to be blocking, basically kind of corralling them together. So there's no way that they can get out other than whether it's going to the restroom but we have our staff. There's going to be teachers and proctors and myself there. So we'll be constantly monitoring what's going on. And they did say that there's going to be a gate though that's going to be blocking all the ins and outs and hallways that, you know, that they can try to escape to. But we're gonna make sure they don't do that.
Good. Okay, wonderful. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to our BUSD report. Would that be Mark giving that, and also with our new board member update?
Yes, thank you. Just a quick update on the opening of the school year, as we're about a month in, a little over a month in at this point. Not normal school, but a normal number of kids coming to school. So COVID is still very much with us. So there's a lot of management related to that. But for the most part, it was a pretty typical opening of the school year. You're probably aware that we offered an independent study program this year to any student who wanted it. That is not something we've done before, but actually all districts in the state of California were required to offer some kind of off-campus option. We have about 200, a little more than 200 of our students choosing that option. So it's not a large percentage. The majority of our students are going to school on campus. So all of our campuses are at, essentially typical capacity with normal bell schedules. And as we're talking about dances, we've been playing sports. So a lot of the normal elements of school have been in operation for the vast majority of our students, and then just sort of managing the impact of COVID as it comes along. But for the most part have been able, we have avoided any kind of, big outbreaks or those sorts of things that would really jeopardize large portions of our operations, and have just sort of dealt with individual cases or individual classrooms as those situations have come along. So, and then, in preparation for this year and students returning, we had anticipated, a larger number of students would need mental health support. So I think you're aware we hired additional counselors. We had hired the 8 mental health support specialists a couple of years ago. We added 3 more full-time people this year, primarily focused on the secondary schools where the caseloads were very large. So Bonita High School and Ramona, for example, both now have 2 full-time mental health support specialists, where last year they had 1. So made some changes there that will be permanent changes. Those are in preparation for students to return, but are not going to go away in a couple of years. Those will be permanent. And then a lot of elements put in place this year relative to academic support, additional people in the classroom, instructional aides and tutors and that kind of thing, as well as programs that students have access to get extra support. We continue to offer our online tutoring program that we initiated in the spring, as well as quite a bit of classroom support that wasn't there before. Some of that is kind of a year at a time as needed, as we sort of close some of the learning loss gaps that may have been caused by students being away from school, and other elements. So those elements may last a period of time and other elements may become permanent, but a lot of work went into being ready, not only kind of for a normal opening to the school year, but also doing it in a way that we can manage COVID, and in a way that we're addressing some of the additional needs that we anticipated our students would be facing after, a year essentially away from school. And we're seeing that. So it's good that we have those elements in place. You can kind of sometimes anticipate the categories of things you can see, that you're going to see, but you don't always know what the actual impact would be. So after a month, we have a better sense of that and have a lot of support in place, both in school and online, for students in a variety of situations. So,
Wonderful.
any questions at all?
Mark, did you talk about how the school district's providing free lunches and breakfast still?
Yeah, that program that actually began last year, where we just provided free meals to any school-age children, has actually continued. So we're obviously serving lunches in our cafeterias like we always do, but then still have meals available to families, I think mainly out of the district office facility. But that program, we're providing free meals that began during school closures, has been able to continue, and we anticipate it'll be available for sure through the end of this year. And then after that, we'll see after next summer.
Yeah, and obviously that will be an important thing that I'll want to coordinate with you on if YFAC needs to be ready to go for the summer lunch program.
Next summer, yeah. Mhm.
I know you guys won't have that information for several months, even
Right.
contemplating what you're going to do. But
Yeah.
if you could just kind of put me on your radar, and that way we can work with community services and gear up if we need to on our end.
Definitely.
I just have a question for Mark. It's more of a information for myself as far as the kids. Are they receiving? Is there a focus on their well-being or mental well-being? How COVID has impacted them? I know some middle schoolers are now in high school and they missed most of, their social life has pretty much been diminished. It's now been on a computer. Is there a focus on their well-being in that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, yeah. I mean, like I said, we have additional mental health support for students who are struggling with specific issues. We have all of the normal transitional elements that we've had in place for our, like Bonita High has what they call Link Crew, which is specifically designed to help students transition to that new environment. Ramona has a similar one for students coming up from elementary. We also expanded, we have a team of people who work, they're kind of behavior technicians or behavior specialists who work with kids who are exhibiting behaviors during school that may be hindering their ability to learn. We expanded that team so that they can go out and work with teachers. And then I think part of it is just adjusting. Part of what we had to discover in the first month is like, where is the baseline? Like you're saying, Sam, we have a generation of students who maybe the last time they were in school, they were fourth graders, and now they're sixth graders in a middle school, having missed that fifth grade, which is a lot of transition. And we don't have all the answers yet, but are recognizing, and I think teachers are adjusting how they approach things. Administrators and counselors are adjusting to sort of reset that baseline of like, where are the students as compared to where they might have been without COVID in a more typical progress. So we have some formal elements in place, but also are adjusting kind of at the classroom level as teachers work with kids and recognizing, there's some of these elements that might otherwise have been in place socially that are maybe not the same as what we would have seen pre-COVID. So it's all of those different levels, at work.
And then the second part of this, in a law enforcement perspective, I've seen in the social media world where there's these challenges on TikTok where kids are destroying the restrooms, and then now they're sexually harassing other teachers and catching it on a TikTok videos. Have we seen any of that? I know I had a chance to talk to Janessa, but I'm not sure if that's hit BUSD at all or any of the local schools.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Nothing along those lines has come to my attention.
Yes.
We did have the vandalism in the bathrooms. They took out the urinals.
Okay. Yeah.
That did happen at the high school. It was a lot of damage to the bathrooms. I just heard about the more the harassment. I haven't heard anything from teachers yet about that. So I don't know if they're brave enough to do that yet, but definitely they did do the vandalism in the bathrooms. But I have my undercover TikTok. So just like my Instagram, I have a fake Instagram, a fake Facebook, just to keep up with these kids. A lot of the times I even have to look it up and what does this mean? I look at like, I don't know what this means. I gotta look that up. So I am keeping up with the TikTok thing. Definitely that the next one is obviously, it's harassing teachers, which that's a next level. But luckily I haven't heard anything yet about that. But yes, we did face the bathroom vandalism part. So unfortunately.
Yeah. I hadn't had a chance to catch up with Janessa. It's kind of opposite ends, but I know it's been in the back of my mind with what's going on in social media and these alleged TikTok challenges are becoming a popular thing, especially with kids being at home. That's like their way of socially adapting.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I talked to Kenny and a few of the other principals, and how important that just, maybe in the future getting security cameras in the schools. We don't have that, and I think that would make a huge difference. Just not only in safety, but just at least doing something with having suspects, because without cameras we don't have suspects. And it's like a lot of this is happening during the nighttime. I do my part, having night shift do extra patrols, especially for the smudge pod, because we know that, other schools come to, San Dimas would come to Bonita, or Bonita go to San Dimas. But, I put in the extra patrols for that at nighttime. But I feel like, hopefully in the future we can get some cameras, up at the schools, because I think that would really not only deter some things, but feel more safe.
Yeah, it's just something to be aware about, that's what's coming through in the social media realm now.
Mhm. Mark, do you want to talk about a new update on the board member joining us?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Figure that was already big news, right? So, I mean, you're aware that the board ran their process last week, and to select a board member it would really just be through next November. And they selected Jim Elliott, which I think most people in the room know Jim. Jim was on our board up until I think 2017. So yeah, Jim's first meeting will be next Wednesday, but he was selected and sworn in and get the meeting last week.
Good to know. Okay,
And
good.
then Mark, has the school board taken official action for YFAC representative, or is that still pending?
I think the person's right here, maybe on.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't know,
fight for that
Greg,
one. I
what-
wanna join, so.
Were you officially
So
selected,
We're
or?
gonna talk about that at the October meeting.
Okay,
in,
that's what I
about a
figured
week
it'd
and a
be on
half.
October.
And
I
then,
hope so.
yeah, That's
Yeah,
on the
so
to-do
that's
list.
next. It's a week from tomorrow is the next meeting. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So would you please let JR know once it's decided, so he can let the board know?
Well, I'm rooting for Greg. How's that?
I'm rooting for Greg too. Yep.
yeah. I'm probably the only one that'll put up a fight. So that's the one I wanted originally.
Hey, you're the lone Laverne resident on that school board now, aren't you?
Yeah, it seems to be a popular thing, just having one. Hopefully, I represent it well.
You will. We have all the faith in you. Okay, let's move on to ordinance 1100 impact.
All right, sorry for the cloak and dagger listing there. Thought that this would be a good way to define it, since it's the new tobacco related ordinance. And I know, Jessica, I'm actually going to kind of let you handle this item for the most part, and I'll jump in if there's anything that I feel needs added, but you always do such a darn good job. We'll go ahead and let you take off with it.
I could also add a little bit to that on our side of what the impacts are and what our future actions will be.
Awesome. Alrighty. If that's okay, I'm going to share my screen. You guys know I love a good slideshow. But anyway, so thank you, JR. I love it. I love it. So, all right, ordinance, I don't know, 1100, flavored tobacco ban in Laverne. I'll just take like 5 minutes of your time just to talk about it. So you all know that the reason that ordinance exists is because of YFAC, because of the community members. So on July 19th and then again on August 16th, City Council voted unanimously to support this ordinance, which will restrict flavored tobacco sales in Laverne. Community voices were heard on public comment. I know we had some opposition as well, but a lot of community members came out, submitted letters of support, and this is the ordinance. So essentially what the ordinance does, it will take effect in January 2022. So retailers do have an opportunity to sell their products and sell out up until January. It will restrict tobacco retailers from selling tobacco products that contain a flavor. This is vape products, this is cigarillos, this is any tobacco product. Flavors are included in this ordinance basically is anything that is not tobacco flavored. So that's something that added fruit, candy, sweetener, spice, even if the name is something like blue or like a color or something like that, but it's flavored, it includes that. Also, during this meeting, they amended the definition of smoke and smoking to include e-cigarettes, which I think they did that. I don't know how much I can say like it's great or whatever legally because of my funding. But anyway, retailers in violation after January 2022 may be cited and fined by the Laverne tobacco retail licensing laws that you all have. What does this ordinance not do? It does not criminalize the use of these flavored products. So if there's a youth outside smoking a vape or an adult, it's not an ordinance that will target them. Granted, unrelated to this ordinance, there are some outdoor smoking policies. So if you're in like a public park, you can't smoke. However, the point is just that this ordinance is focused on the retailers. We're putting the onus and the responsibility on those who are selling the products. This does not affect the 2 existing hookah lounges in Laverne under their current ownership. And the city of Laverne has said that they are exempting menthol. They did say that they're gonna revisit the issue once legal battles are settled. And then we all do know that in November 2022, there will be a vote on the state bill. So we'll see how that goes, which includes menthol. So probably Sam can speak more to this, but the implementation, it'll take effect in January 2022. The Laverne Police Department will do the enforcement. The funds or how we kind of fund this is from your tobacco retail license. All the retailers pay in to get a license so that they can be enforced. And the really exciting part is, after January 2022, community members can, if they happen to be walking in the 7-Eleven and they see flavored tobacco products still being sold, LVPD does have a code enforcement line. You can call and report that if you see it. And of course, Janessa just mentioned that unfortunately vaping is not an issue of the past yet. So aside from the code violation number, there are also educational resources. I'm actually going to be reaching out to her as well as some other like the library and other community groups to continue presenting information, continue to present resources. The American Lung Association, I've mentioned a few times, does have some programming like In-Depth, which is a alternative to suspension and citation for young people. It's more education based. So instead of kicking kids out of school, we put them back in school for longer and they learn more about vaping. They also have a Not on Tobacco program, and that's a cessation project. Both these programs are actually the staff of the school would be trained. In-Depth is actually free for schools, and then Not actually does have a fee, but trained from the school, and then they actually are the ones working with the students. And then I think a really important part about this ordinance is taking these products off the shelves, but unfortunately we have adults and children alike who are addicted to these products who may be impacted by the lack of them. And we want to make cessation resources available. A lot of people right now, we're going to decide that this is the time that they're going to quit because it's no longer easy to get these products. So I want to make all these resources available by flyers, maybe presentations, and I can get that information hopefully to JR who can distribute it if that works. And then lastly, I did just want to say that there's a difference beyond the fact that there are 20 retailers in Laverne or so that are no longer going to be able to sell flavored tobacco products. That is a lot of products that won't be on the market for young people to start using. That means they're going to have less access, but that also means they're going to see less advertising and they're not going to walk into their 7-Eleven trying to buy like a candy bar and see that product on the shelf and think, oh, should I try that? Or their friend's not going to dare them, buy that product and try it. And I think that's really important to note. And then furthermore, there's other cities in the San Gabriel Valley who have seen Laverne and are taking note. Actually, San Dimas tonight will be considering if they want to have their own flavor ban. In fact, I probably will be jumping off this meeting a little bit early to monitor that. But if you see this map, I know it's super small. There's not a lot of cities surrounding Laverne that have these policies, and Laverne is a pioneer in that way. And there's no telling who will be impacted by that. And then finally, I did just want to thank everybody who had a part in amplifying the community voices in this issue. And I also wanted to let you all know that though it's been about more than 2 years that I have been working in Laverne, unfortunately, my grant and funding is up at the end of the year. So while I will continue to have, a presence in Laverne until then, I will be leaving at the end of the year, unfortunately. But I just want to thank everybody. This has been the best group, the most wonderful people to work with. And so I hope that this group is proud of what they've been able to do for their community, because I am really grateful for what you've all taught me. So thank you.
Okay, any comments or questions?
I'd like to jump in real quick. I got a couple notes here. Just to keep you guys in the loop, after January 2022, we're looking at using some of our grant funding for tobacco education to pursue not enforcement actions, but more compliance checks before we start enforcing the tobacco ordinance. So we want to make sure that we're going to use decoys going in there, and if they're in compliance, we'll provide them a letter saying thank you for complying with the new ordinance. And if they're not compliant, then we'll also let them know, hey, you need to be within compliance. If the next time we come in here, you will be cited and fined. So we're not going to come in hard, but at the same token, we want to make sure we continue to educate our vendors, our retailers of the new ordinance. Letters have been sent out to each of them within the city, letting them know that the ordinance did pass and that we will be in the near future coming out to pay them a visit. So we will be conducting those compliance checks here probably come January, if not February, to make sure that they're meeting their end of the bargain. So that's my little part of it. And thank you guys for for the support and help during the whole presentation at council. So it worked out well, and it helps and benefits the community and the youth of our community.
It really does. Rick, do you have something you'd like to say?
I think Don has his hand up first. I will go right after Don.
Okay, Don.
I would like to thank Jessica. I remember the first time she came to YFAC with this very message and brought our attention to some important issues that we knew about, but not necessarily how to go about it. And I would like to thank Jessica for her input and her enthusiasm and allowing us to ride her coattails to get this thing passed. So Jessica, thank you. I can't imagine this committee not having you on board. So, but we loved having you here.
And I would also like to thank Jessica, but also the board members of the YFAC for the last 2 years. You guys were the ones that were really driving force with this. I got to come in the very end and ride the coattails the very end and slide right through. But Carolyn and Denise and Don and Robin, you guys did an amazing job. And Sam, all the work that the Laverne Police Department is supporting this as well. Really appreciate everyone's input on this, and it's been a long project, and it's good that they got to the finish line. So thank you everyone for getting that all done.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby and Jessica. She was a huge resource, and all of you for your support. It wasn't easy, but we got through it, and I think our goal for the most part has been achieved.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Jessica, you talk about that during the meeting, the opposition we had, the voice against, moving forward. A lot of it, the residents in Laverne were thrilled to know this was going to happen. The only voice we heard from were different organizations really just asking us to totally ban selling any kind of cigarettes, flavored, the whole bit, and including menthol. But we tried to explain that the menthol, we're going to wait and see how that goes with the bill that's going to be passed, on the ballot next year. So, but thank you for everything. And what are your plans after January 1st? Do you have any yet?
Great question. No, I don't. I will be continuing public health. I have found a huge reason for this work. But I don't know yet, but I can let you know when I do.
Good. Well, we will miss you when that time comes, but we have you still for, 3 more months. And
Yes.
your enthusiasm has been very contagious. We've loved having you on the committee.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, then let's move on now to the bicycle program. Rick, did you want to talk about that, or JR?
I think I'll introduce Alfie Sanchez from Majestic Cycling, and he's also part of Laverne Kiwanis. He approached me about a month or 2 ago and really wanted to bring things to our youth. And I said, this committee right here will be the committee to go through. So we had a pre-meeting with JR and Robin and Sam and Alfie and myself just last month. And so JR, anything else? Or Alfie, let's talk about the program.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll let Alfie go through some of his points, and then I'll loop it back to how YFAC might be involved and kind of what we're looking for from the group.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here and allowing me to be on this meeting here, and looking forward to working with you guys. So I've been working with other projects in regards to giving out kids bikes, City of Fontana, Rancho. I think we talked about that before. But yeah, since we do have the bike race that we do here, the Laverne Grand Prix and / Bracket Grand Prix, we'll be doing 2 different races, even though it's the same course for next year for next season. But so we basically want to just be able to give out, donate bikes to the youth, obviously with the elementary schools. I did speak to, I think I emailed JR about working with the 3rd and 4th grade kids. But as of right now, we will be purchasing and picking up, hopefully this week, 40 bikes. So we will have 40 bikes, 40 helmets, 40 bike locks is the goal, to be able to allocate into the community with the organization from the Kiwanis Club and also to Majestic Cycling. Kind of both of us are working together in collaboration to bring these bikes to Laverne, the community, and be able to work with the youth. So I know, JR, when I talked with you, I did try to find out what Fontana does, and we unfortunately didn't have anything for me to give to where there was some type of rules or how they allocate the bikes. So I thought maybe with the board here, we could try to come up with some type of restrictions or something that we can kind of collaborate with to make it some guidelines to see what these kids could, how they're going to be able to allocate, how they're going to be able to get the bikes. So, because my job is obviously I want to get them and have them, and then of course giving it up to you guys to where we can definitely bring the bikes in.
Yeah, thank you, Alfie. So the good news is we've got a great group that can pull together a program that makes sense for Laverne. But thank you just for even bringing this opportunity to us to be able to have 40 bikes that we can distribute out to the community at no cost to YFAC or the city or some other donor for you bringing that opportunity to us. That's really exciting. Sam and PD is going to be involved with this pretty significantly as far as helping us identify the kids. Basically, they generally have a list of people in the community that need help and need assistance. And so Sam and I have talked about, are we going to be able to identify 40 people that we could distribute these bikes to? And he's indicated that won't be a problem at all. I've spoken with the JPIA just from a risk management standpoint. If we're giving something away, there's some procedural and protections that we'll obviously want to have for the city. But we already have that in place and ready to go. So I think we're in a good spot. Basically, somewhat of an action item and more just direction than needing a vote, I would think, is that basically we're not looking for financial support at this point, but we're looking for the blessing of the committee to provide some additional efforts on staff's part, being both mainly Sam and myself, working on this and pulling the specific details together, because I think we're shooting for, Alfie, you're shooting for early December.
Yeah, so
distribution.
we were hoping, I thought we were supposed to pick up the bikes actually today, but I think we'll probably get them in the next day or two. So the process that we're looking at, we've got a big group of people that are going to help build, because I think the other group bought another 50, so it's like 90 bikes we got to build. So we're going to need a lot of help. So that's going to be like again, with our cycling community, we'll reach out to a lot of people through Facebook and Instagram, and we usually get a pretty good following where people come out to build the bikes, and we try to make it fun. So once we get the bikes built, we will have a location where we'll be able to store them. And then once we find a date and we work something out, obviously we have a little bit of time to kind of figure out the whole, once we know we've got the 40 kids and we were able to find a location where we could either, again, I guess, collaborate with you guys to say how we want to do it. I know we like to try to do a bike ride where we get the community involved and we kind of, maybe ride to the location where we can deliver the bikes to the family. Obviously, it makes it a good impact for everybody, and be able to give out the bikes to these children. So again, there's things that we can still kind of work on to figure out the best way to make this work for the community, and for what we wanted to do. But yeah, December is kind of the goal, first week or so, if that's kind of what we'd like to try to get done. We do also have another fundraiser we're doing on October 13th at Sal's Pizza and Bagelery. I've got a lot of good, prizes and raffle prizes, and I got a band that'll be out there, and through the Kiwanis. So we've got a lot, more things that we're still raising more money to help out what we were trying to do. The Kiwanis did acquire helmets, so that was a good thing. We'll be able to give out 40 helmets. And then the locks is kind of the other thing that we're trying to get. But obviously with the money that we raise, we should have no problem getting the locks. And I am working with InCycle, so I'll be getting a lot of discounted product through them. So, but yeah, and then I know we're doing the bicycle rodeo with the city, with the Laverne Police Department this weekend. So I'll be helping out with that as well. So I do appreciate, the city kind of, ask me to help with things that we're doing here. And that's what I want to be able to do, to be able to help with the city and work with this. We hope the goal is to keep doing this. Laverne Grand Prix and Bracket is kind of, we do our beer garden, and that's where the proceeds did come from. And I will proudly, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I had a bike race last weekend, Saturday and Sunday up in Victorville. It was our state championship, and I guess they had the Kiwanis had I forget, they had they were inducted and doing some things, but however, Laverne, our bike race, Laverne Grand Prix got fundraiser of the year, which I didn't expect it to do. So it was nice that we raised enough money to help buy these bikes, and that was the goal, so, but I do, appreciate it.
Wonderful.
That's generally what we're looking for, is any comments or feedback from the group. Generally, if the group's supportive of us basically being a sponsor of this program, then Sam and I will work on putting together the details that we feel we need just to be comfortable with taking this on. And then we'll bring back next month just an update on where we're at and if we need any further direction or action from the executive board.
Okay, do you want that in a form of a motion or just a consensus?
What I would suggest, since we're not having to dedicate anything other than some staff resources, if there's nobody that's opposed to this idea, that we still pull it together and maybe we do more of a formal approval when we have the details for you to look at next meeting.
Okay, do we have any comments? Let me open it up to the committee. Denise.
Just one comment. You said, Sam, that you know of who needs these. Are you guys working at all with Tiffany Merrill with the district? She's Mark, I'm not sure what her actual title is. Is she like the foster liaison? I'm not sure.
Foster youth liaison.
Because I know she's gathering the Christmas wish lists starting in October for the kids. And I know every year we do get some kids who need bikes, and that might be a person to contact to see if there's any kids who have bikes on their wish list.
Perfect. And that's a good point. One thing that we talked about when we met with Alfie is that the school district has a lot of kids that aren't necessarily from Laverne, but they're still part of our community by way of them attending our schools and recreation programs and those types of things. So we'll be including kids that don't just have a Laverne address too. So I think that's important for the group to know. You know, my kids are in that boat. They attend Laverne schools even though they don't have a Laverne address.
I'm a bike, JR.
No, we know what you get paid. You're buying your own bikes.
Right. Yeah. No, they definitely have not only bikes but hoverboards and skateboards and scooters. Yeah, they're good.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful program. Rick, I know you know Alfie quite well. Do you want to say a couple comments?
Yeah, just really excited about this program. Alfie is a longtime friend. We actually went to high school together, and him doing the bike race here in Laverne, and came to me and just talked to me about wanting to help out. He talked about how his Majestic Cycling does this for in Fontana, and a great program out there. And then he's also part of our Laverne Kiwanis. So he is a Lavernite that lives in a satellite city, but wants to be always part here, Laverne. So really appreciate what he's doing for all of our youth, and thought this committee is a perfect committee, working with the police and their outreaches and the schools and their outreaches to find kids that well deserving and needy as well. So really appreciate this effort, and at a great time right before the holidays, and we want to make this an ongoing yearly event.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Rick, also, may I ask you that when it's time and appropriate, JR, you can let him know, is I'd really love for Rick to put this in at the city council, to put it out there, that people understand all the good that's being done, the wonderful generosity of Alfie's group in the Kiwanis. And those are the kind of things we want spread out there. So Rick, would you do that for us when it's time?
Most definitely, be honored to.
Okay, good. Any other comments? Okay, now let's move on to, you have consensus then, JR, you understand everybody wants to do this then, right? Anything else on that?
Great. No, thank you.
Okay. The youth representation, have you heard of any, have we started looking for someone from the high school?
No, so I just wanted to put this on the agenda to take the opportunity to bring it back up to the group. You know, prior to COVID, we had regular representation from the high school, and that was very beneficial to have them part of the conversation. I think it's valuable for our group to have that insight and perspective. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to have that on there, and maybe work with Mark and Janessa and Bonita High School admin specifically to see if we can identify who those folks were, because I think that was helpful. For those of you that were part of that, it wasn't just a popularity contest. It wasn't, you know, stealing people from ASB. It was actually a concerted effort of identifying maybe some students that were active, but not, you know, the most active in everything, because high school students are typically in a bazillion different things. I mean, I'm looking, my son just started Ramona, and they've got, after school, they've got drama, they've got football, cross country. Don't forget about, you know, travel sports and all those different types of things. So there's so many different types of things that a lot of kids are involved in, but then there's also kids that maybe aren't as involved, but have the perspective that we're looking for. And so the Bonita High School administration and the SRO at the time, Frankie Cambrero, did a really good job of identifying a couple students that started regularly attending our meetings and providing some good value to us and educating us on adults sometimes think we know what's going to work and what will be helpful, but having those students there, they actually said, well, actually, this is kind of what we think and what we encounter. So that was really, really helpful. So just wanted to put this on the agenda, see if that's something that the rest of the group was interested in doing. And then we can work, Janessa, not to put you on the spot, but probably look to you as being the lead to start that conversation with the high school's administration on possibly identifying some people that could regularly attend our group.
Yes, of course. I will definitely talk to staff and even different teachers to see who we can get to come to these meetings. Because yes, you're right. A student's whole perspective is completely different than ours. So I think that would help us a lot.
Yeah, and it was
helped us hugely.
Mhm.
Yeah, just going back. So Vanessa Hess was one of the ones that, and you know, it was really interesting because she was not afraid to share with our group, and that will be critical, right? You not having a student that might be a little shy and not willing to share, but finding somebody that is willing to do that and put themselves out there. That was really great.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, here's the time for public comment. If anybody would like to talk. Greg, do you know much about our group? Do you have any questions?
I have tons of questions. I was going to email you guys on the side, not to take up all the time for the meeting. I heard a lot about it. I just never knew when it was and got sent a letter by Matt, and I'm here. So look forward to staying with you guys and learning more.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, it's a wonderful group. Don Kendrick, aren't you one of the original?
I started 2 years after it started, so I've been on it 27 years.
Yes.
So
It seems like he
yeah.
was at the beginning of everything I'm learning about in Laverne. So
Mhm.
I'm learning a lot.
We'd love to
It's
have you on
very-
board.
Yeah, very good group, and you'll be very pleased. And we want your input and you to speak and let us know things that we should know for the school district too, to help us. Okay? Anybody else? Donna, do you have anything? It's so nice seeing you.
I got two things I'd like to add, if I can.
Well, wait a second. Donna unmuted herself. Nothing?
Well, I don't really have anything. I just want to say I'm happy to be back, and it's really nice to see all these programs rejuvenated and all the excitement and passion of all the board members and all the residents. So just happy to be a part of it again.
Wonderful. Okay, Sam.
Yes, this weekend, I'm sure you guys heard Alfie let everyone know we have an open house this weekend. So everyone's invited. It's from 10 to 1. Come by and see what public safety is all about. We'll have a few demonstrations. Everyone's invited. I'll be there. So if you're not busy Saturday, come on by from 10 to 1 here at the PD. The public safety building will be open for tours. And then second, I want to announce my promotion to captain here, and my replacement will be taking over come January. So I leave you in good hands, hopefully, with Chris Dransfeld, who will be taking over as the administrative lieutenant. So thank you for everything, all the experiences over the last, what's it been, 5 years now? And it seems like it's gone quick. So I hope to still have some presence in it, but I want to give him the ability to also take part in it and provide some new insight and different ideas. So thank you for everything. And that'll be effective come January. So
Congratulations, Sam.
thank you.
Well earned.
Thank
Well,
you.
Sam, if I knew the promotion would get you off our committee, I would have talked to Colina ahead of time. I don't want to lose you. So you still got to come and be a present once in
Oh,
a
I
while,
will.
okay?
I will.
Great. Anybody else?
And I'll just jump in here. There was nobody that emailed asking to have a chance to provide public comments, so I won't be calling anyone. So I just wanted to let you know.
Wonderful. Okay,
I have an announcement. Hi, everyone. My name's Isela. I'm with Tri-City Mental Health Services. It's great seeing a lot of you again. I feel like I haven't seen some of you in forever. I just wanted to quickly announce that Tri-City currently is forming a TAY Wellness Advisory Council. TAY is for transitional age youth, 16 to 25 years of age. We are looking for that age group that is that either resides in Pomona, Claremont, and Laverne, or goes to school in those 3 cities, so that they can be a part of this and provide us with more feedback on how we can maybe better our mental health services, or any other information that they may have in regards to the services that we offer to that age group. JR, I have a flyer that maybe, I don't know if you can share with the committee, just in case you guys have anyone that may be interested in being a part of this.
Absolutely happy. If you email it to me, I will send it out to our email list. Thank you.
I will do that. Thank you.
good, wonderful. So will you be joining us each month? Because if so, I'd like to add you to the list for Tri-City to have comments for us.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely.
Okay, Jared, would you add that as an item?
I will.
You and I are going to go over the agenda, okay? We're going to work on this for next month. There's a couple of things I'd like to see, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, not hearing anything else, I will adjourn the meeting and we will see you next month. And hopefully everybody will come by the Public Safety Building on Saturday. It's going to be wonderful. I heard from a certain Darth Vader that Star Wars characters will be there towards the end of it. And so it should be kind of interesting. So
I can almost confirm it.
Yes. Anything else on that, Sam?
No, it should be a well-attended event, and I look forward to seeing you guys all there. So thank you, and thank you for all the comments. But I still have some presence before I introduce Chris to the team. I'll still have some type of influence or part of the YFAC. So it's been a great program. I don't intend on just saying goodbye and closing the door. So
good. Good.
For anybody that doesn't know Chris, he is an amazing person, and I'm thrilled that he's going to be taking Sam's place because he's all about youth and kids and making our community the best it can be. So nice choice, Sam. I know that you had a little bit to say about it.
Okay. Well, good night, everyone.
good night.